Hi and welcome back to Love on the Brain, the podcast that helps you transform tough emotions into questions that serve you better. I'm your host, Kay Van Dunk, and I help independent women who are single, divorced, or widowed find their soulmates while staying true to their high standards. In each episode, we dive into a frustrating question you might have about love. I share some insights, and then we reframe it with an affirmation or ask-formation to help lift your spirits. An affirmation is just a question framed in a positive way to help your brain search for solutions, or at least shift your mindset. If your brain's going to be on repeat, might as well give it something helpful, right? If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a great review on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Your reviews help other amazing singles find the podcast too. All right, let's get started on today's episode. Today's question is there really someone out there for me? You have to know how common a fear this is, especially if you're looking for love or you've just gone through heartbreak. And that heartbreak could be losing the person you love, whether it's to separation or divorce or death. It can bring up all these fears that it's hard to imagine that there's someone out there for you. If you've been looking for your soulmate for a while, maybe years, maybe even decades, there's a point where you really feel despair that there's possibly nobody in this world who you'll ever be able to love, or that you'll find this person. Additionally, you could be just dealing with a failed relationship. Maybe you thought you were with someone who was your soulmate, and that feeling makes you a little scared that maybe there isn't someone for you. Could be you've broken up with someone who you knew wasn't your soulmate. Either way, there's very many ways to get to this point, and there's a way out of it. Because it's so easy to imagine 100 different ways that you end up alone. And it's your mind playing tricks on you, because you won't be able to come up with 100 ways in which your soulmate does find you. And that comes from a place of scarcity thinking. And usually you hear scarcity thinking or scarcity mindset when it comes to money. But the principles still apply, because it's still a thought process that holds you back in the same ways, right? Thinking that there's not enough, thinking that there can't possibly be what you don't have means that there's lack. And that's not the truth. It's just something your mind tells itself because of what it sees in the present moment. Working out of this mind frame of, will I ever find the person I love, of course will lead you to other negative emotions and make you feel like, because you can't see a way, that there can't possibly be a way. So then what happens? You go into this downward spiral of focusing on all the wrong things, like statistics that say that love is not possible due to your age or race or gender or location. And that could lead you to a place of desperation where you might respond by pulling into yourself even further because you feel like it's futile to do anything about it, or do the opposite where you feel really desperate, like you need to get out there more and do all the things with all the people so that hopefully you can find your soulmate. Neither is really a good approach. So we're going to pull it back and focus on what is true. That you wouldn't have this desire to meet your soulmate and be with your soulmate if it wasn't possible. Also, that you showed up here today to change your mindset, and that is huge. So don't discount that. One of my favorite later in life love stories is one of my closest friends who met and married her now husband in her 40s. There were many points along the way where I did coach her on how her soulmate wish list was complete enough, how what she wanted was within reach. And yes, when she even dipped into moments of despair, we used affirmations as well as part of her toolkit to pull her out of it. And it was a process because she's human, but eventually she got there, and so can you. I want you to focus on something very simple. There's a lid for every pot, meaning there is someone for you. Whatever you're looking for is not so crazy that the universe or God or whatever else entity hasn't already accounted for that. Trust that your soulmate love is out there. Being patient and making sure that you're in alignment with what you want is the best way to bring it closer to you and also to bring peace to yourself. So instead of focusing on a question that doesn't serve you, like, is there really someone out there for me? Try this affirmation instead. How delightful is it that I've found my soulmate, knowing that a perfect match exists just for me? Okay, I know it's a mouthful, so repeat it with me out loud. How delightful is it that I found my soulmate, knowing that a perfect match exists just for me? Because there is someone out there just for you. And every time you do work like this to change your mindset and not just come from a place of positivity, but to challenge yourself to think about things from a different angle, you bring love closer. You bring your soulmate closer. Before we close each podcast, I love to focus on gratitude because it's the highest vibration of all. So, think of one thing that you're grateful for in this moment. As always, I'm grateful that you tuned into my podcast and love you for listening. And remember, when love is on the brain, asking better questions can lead to better answers.